shall still fly a presidential jet. How much is the flying a presidential jet for Ghana? Ghana's GDP is what? Flying the vice president who needs it. Needs it is the point. The vice president needed that. Why should we not do it? We should do it. But because of what Ablakwa said to milk people and to get power, that is why we are talking today. Otherwise, it is nothing. If this happens in other jurisdictions, it is zero. Because some of those politicians don't do what we do in Ghana. I always told you that Joe Garte told me that people don't respect politicians because of what politicians say about politicians. People think parliamentarians are thieves because of what parliamentarians... Have you ever heard an American congressman saying that another congressman who is in power is a thief? Have you ever heard a British MP saying that another MP in the government is a thief? They never say these things because they know that you can't prove it. So you shouldn't say it. They argue with them, they tackle them, but they never call them names like thief and crook and all that. But here in Ghana, because some people know that without that they cannot come to power, they cannot argue on the basis of what is happening and bring them to power, they always must take advantage of human feelings. Economy is difficult. Price of maize is high.
Okudzeto Ablakwa. Say ya ye kasa yi. Po adomochire chere say adekunti a Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa ntimi nkasa. Emfa eye private jet ya. Maami udindi ediba eye Ghana. That is your vice president the buy and they say wadi nkomo wa abonten akasa mebri. Because of that inti oba ban mu asa de na si no. Ontimi nka ho asem. So what I say because bedu betimi kwa do time bi according to po adomochire we say betimi do time bi. Na ebia ye maame ekura nyon na ebefa private jet na ebia ye Honorable eye Okudzeto na eba befa eye private jet ono so di private jet ho nkomo a wo kire say private jet ne de say wo aban mu na akofa according to ono hu ni say enya de papa wo say wo ye etisa no ma na wadi ho nkomo wa abonten tama no wa abonten no no aba aban mu na ebia sie no ontimi nka but wo say wo so oba abonten no be pa Ghana fo achewo say de wo kan ye no ono ankasa da adwene ho ahunu sɛ ni kwa sɛ nko kan sa yenim so obeya na wonye de ye Honorable Okudzeto ene bitima decide ye nkotie nsɛm apɔ adomokyere odi tu dwa bra na oye good evening Ghana.
So Honorable Sami said that during the days of opposition he maintained fire on Akufo-Addo. Fire on Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo said the presidential jet is gone on servicing, so I flew a plane from New York to Accra. Okudzeto had the amount of money. Everybody was sort of, Akufo-Addo shouldn't spend that kind of money just traveling. And then the matters became worse when defense minister went to parliament and apparently murmured something like, Akufo-Addo cannot even take a shower in the plane. He was not even speaking on the floor. I think he murmured it. When he was talking, people were, parliament, they heckle quite a bit. And they said that, oh, but the plane, he cannot even bath in it. And they said, hey, did you hear what he said? He cannot bath in it. He cannot bath in the plane. President wants to bath in the plane. Cartoons were developed out of it. I went to see the defense minister back in the day. I don't know, those of you what Good Evening Ghana will remember. I interviewed him in his office. I brought the tape, we played it. Try as they did, it was very difficult because the circumstances of the economy as it is today was quite difficult. Kenke had just approached 5 cities in those days. Everybody was angry. And then they heard that the president is flying some private jet and da-da-da-da-da. Ablakwa took advantage of it and milked it completely. He actually over-milked it until the point where he granted this interview to Adom FM. Have a look at the interview.
NDC banani pa wodi animu no kofi fasa private jet bia na wo wa ban nimu you resign.
I'll resign because what
may resign
why should I stay there? May resign because the mayor is on principle and yet personal and yet say idea me time President Akufo-Addo and as I mean President Kudebi. It's the principle. It's about protecting the public purse.
Viewers, what shall we say to these things? This is Okudzeto Ablakwa. He is not just any minister at all. Today he's the foreign minister and therefore he must have had a role to play in the decisions made by the government on how the vice president returns to Ghana. He's the foreign minister and also one of the great pets of the vice president. The vice president, and I say pet, I mean pet in quotes. The vice president really likes him because they work together at education. And the vice president has testified on Sami Ablakwa many, many times. And he's a good guy. There's no doubt about that. But he's not just, you see how God works. You see, God can embarrass you. This is God embarrassing people. You are foreign. He's not a Greek minister. If he's a Greek minister there, he's sitting somewhere looking at his farm, doing planting for food and jobs and doing in kokon kiti and those things. And the vice president flies over his head and comes to Accra. Fair enough. But here you are, minister for foreign affairs. Vice President goes to London, it's foreign affairs. Vice President is coming from London, it's foreign affairs. So right in the foreign affairs, right on his desk, he must have played a role in the decisions that were made to fly this luxurious private jet. We have no problem with that decision. We think it is correct. It's a correct decision. The Vice President has been unwell. She's coming in. In fact, even if we still had the presidential jet, but it wasn't in the States as comfortable as can take somebody who is just recovering from some short illness, we shall still fly a presidential jet. How much is the flying the presidential jet for Ghana? Ghana's GDP is what? Flying the vice president who needs it. Needs it is the point. The vice president needed that. Why should we not do it? We should do it. But because of what Ablakwa said to milk people and to get power, that is why we are talking today. Otherwise, it is nothing. If this happens in other jurisdictions, it is zero. Because some of those politicians don't do what we do in Ghana. I always told you that Joe Garte told me that people don't respect politicians because of what politicians say about politicians. People think parliamentarians are thieves because of what parliamentarians... Have you ever heard an American congressman saying that another congressman who is in power is a thief? Have you ever heard a British MP saying that another MP in the government is a thief? They never say these things because they know that you can't prove it. So you shouldn't say it. They argue with them, they tackle them, but they never call them names like thief and crook and all that. But here in Ghana, because some people know that without that they cannot come to power, they cannot argue on the basis of what is happening and bring them to power, they always must take advantage of human feelings. Economy is difficult. Price of maize is high. Price of kenke is high. So the president is a thief. That is why the price of kenke is high. Cecilia Dapa is a thief. That is why you are broke. That's why the country is broke. Because Cecilia Dapa has stolen all the country's money and put in her house. 6 months into office, Cecilia Dapa has not been even questioned. That's a beautiful video of the vice president arriving. Oh, yeah, I like this video. I like this video. I like this video. Oh, that's President Mahama. You know, President Mahama is very calm. He allowed his wife to do the embrace and all of that. I think that's great. I think that's great. Let's get back to that Ablakwa story. Let's get back to that Ablakwa story. So this is Sami Okudzeto. He has played a role in this video that you just saw in getting the vice president in. He sat on radio because he wanted Ghanaians to look at him as a saint and therefore elect the NDC into power. He said, which he didn't have to say, that whenever he's in power, and he didn't even limit it to the president too. He said the president or the vice president does something like this, he will resign from the government, assuming that he will have a ministerial position. That's what he said. That he will resign. Now he's foreign minister, and he's the one who has given birth to this story. The story of Jenano Pokwa flying in a private jet to Ghana. Ablakwa said, if this happens, he will resign. Do I think he should resign? No, he shouldn't. He shouldn't. He's a young man, just started a foreign ministry. He has opportunity to make something happen. Why should he resign? I don't think he should resign. But he must have the presence of mind to come out and apologize to Ghanaians. Like Fifi Kwete did at the appointments committee. Ablakwa must apologize to Ghanaians that I said it. I meant it then, but looking at the circumstances now, I shouldn't have said that. He should say it. He, Ablakwa of all people, should say. Otherwise, one day, he may find himself as foreign minister flying the private jet himself. God knows how to let that happen. God, he knows how to let Ablakwa himself fly a private jet into Kotoka International Airport. And he will wash his face and wonder whether he's dreaming, and he will not be dreaming. It is he, Ablakwa, who has flown. Do you remember Peter? When Jesus told Peter that you will deny him, he said, you saw what happened. So Ablakwa should apologize. Otherwise, one day, God will make he Ablakwa himself, foreign minister. He will fly a private jet. He will forget. He will sit in the jet in New York. He will forget that he has said that. He will arrive and pictures will be taken. He'll say, but you are the one who said it. And when the Professor Jenna now what happened, you didn't even happen. Now you've done it yourself. These are the things we say about politicians. Learn how to talk. Don't over milk. Don't overtake advantage when you are in opposition. Be careful. Today I saw Franklin Kujo post something on Sam George. And he said, be careful what you say in opposition. I'm going to get to that as well. Sam George said so many things that if you play before him today, he has to dodge. He has to run away. So did Ablakwa. The desperation to get Akufo-Addo's government out of power without dealing with the substantial issues, but trying to deal with issues that will give you an advantage in opposition. Everybody in opposition can take advantage of it. I can organize a demonstration today that the dollar has gone down. Why is KK not going down? And then one day, a government will be in power. I'll be there. And they'll say, hey, Paul Adomoshe, You were the one who organized demonstration that KK should go down. You are in government. The dollar is this way. Why is KK not? Resign. But because I understand and I'm trying to build maturity, I watch the processes and deal with the substance. Not so much taking advantage of what has happened. You can't do that in politics. You can't. And Ablakwa must be ashamed of himself. He must be really ashamed of himself.
Etipo adomochi wiye no anso wa ena ode call eye Jinapo the ohe and ya honsem energy minister so. And what say energy minister den ko void ne diagoro. Inti o say energy minister kro nso patch wo. Because container bi anyerai. And on be kire Ghana for say container ayera. Po adomochi nsem wole to.
This is Abdullah Jinapo, the minister for energy. This is not his first time as energy. He used to be minister for power, and now he's minister for energy. It's not his first time. So he should be quite experienced. But as I'm saying, the campaign was run on corruption, which is fair. NPP is corrupt, and so we take them out and we bring a new government. So when the new government came in, they were always in a hurry to show the corruption that they had alleged during the campaign was right. The corruption that they had alleged during the campaign was right. And then, and so he then held press conferences and said that there are containers, ECG, containers that belong to ECG, that has ECG accoutrements in it, had been missing. He also alleged that what ECG people were doing and the MPP is that when the containers come, they refuse to clear it, and then it's given to a private person, and then ECG goes behind to go and buy the things from the private person. Things ECG has imported, say meters or some accoutrements, it comes to the port. ECG clear, they don't clear it. This is what he said, or this is a story that came out, a narrative. And then they go and a private Chinese man goes to buy it, or Indian man goes to buy it. Buy the containers from the port, because the port is disposing of the containers. They can't keep them forever. 2,000 and over containers. They can't keep them, so they're disposing of it. And then when they dispose of it to a private person, ECG then goes to a private person to buy it. It looked like robbery. It looked like real robbery. It looked like people had taken this country to the cleanest and they needed to be dealt with. And they were MPP people. All of us believed it. I believed the story when he put it out. So I called for the number of Muhammad Dubik, and I asked him. He said, do you have time, Paul? I said, I have time. He said, come and let me explain to you. So I went to see him. He told me, I said, is this the matter, Dubik? He said, this is the matter. I said, so what John Japo says? He said, no, it cannot be true. I said, why don't you then do interviews? Why don't you go on interviews? He said, can I come on Good Evening Ghana? I said, not yet. Do interviews on the Akan radio stations, because people need to understand this a lot before we can do Good Evening Ghana. So then he was on Asempa. I heard him. He spoke well. He said, containers have not gone anywhere. People started doing cartoons with their containers, putting wings on the containers. Containers have flown away, blah, 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 blah. Dubik, you've been vindicated. You've been vindicated. You've done well. The containers, the apostle is found. Let's get back to Jinapo's trajectory and let's see what happens in the trajectory. So this is 29th March 2025. Jinapo demands forensic audit over missing ECG containers. The Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapo, has revealed procurement breaches and potential corruption within the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, following the discovery that over 1,300 containers meant for the power distribution have gone missing from the Tema port. Everyone did not believe the story because Tema is an automated port. Tema is one of the best in Africa. How does 1,300 containers go missing and Gapoha does not know where the containers are? It sounded like Pilolo, as we said in the thing. It sounded like a cock and bull story. How? A container, 1,300 of them, they've been missing from Tema Harbor and we can't find it. And it's MPP people stole it. That's what the Minister of State said. Minister, sworn in, taking the oath. Minister of Ghana, he said that the containers have gone missing. He was able to say that because he's enjoying goodwill. They won an election, and so everything they say will be swallowed hook, line, and sinker. And I did swallow it hook, line, and sinker. Then comes 27th May 2025. So Jinapo sets up a committee with taxpayers' money. Sets up a committee, a so-called forensic audit committee, to audit where the containers have gone. The Gapoha does not know where the containers have gone. We need to set up a committee and pay them more money to find out where the containers have gone. For the committee to go and ask Gapoha that where did the containers go. For Gapoha to tell the committee that this is where the containers went. And that has to be paid for by taxpayers' money. Will people have questions to answer tomorrow? I don't know. But these are some of the things we do in government, whether it's MPP or NDC. It is crass. What is this? Gapoha is sitting there, huge, big institution. You are a minister. You cannot call the Gapoha directors and ask them that where is the container. You set up a committee to do a forensic. Oh my goodness. Anyway, Ghana, my happy home. 2,600. It says now he said 1,300. This one says 2,637 missing ECG containers traced at Tema Port. Investigation reveals. Investigators have traced 2,637 unaccounted ECG containers at the Tema Port. Chief of Staff orders evacuation and Energy Minister directs procurement reform amid ongoing investigations. So they found out that the containers were at the Tema Port. But that's the only place the containers will be because the containers don't have wings. They cannot fly. So minister says, I can't find them. And then the committee says, we can find them. They are not actually 1,300, they are 2,600. Okay. And then on 27th May, today, minister comes back, missing ECG containers. 2,300, twice the number of containers presumed to have gone missing, retrieved. Retrieved from where? Who should pay for this? It is dereliction of duty on the part of the minister. Dereliction of duty. That's what has happened. Why are we doing this to ourselves? You're a minister, run your show and do your work and put the lights on and deliver it, and Ghanaians will applaud you. Ghanaians are no longer MPP and NDC. They are common sense. Ghanaians have stopped being MPP and NDC. They are about common sense. Let's do the common sense work. So there are NDC people who are angry with John Rapport tonight. They've called me. NDC people said, what's the minister doing? What's the minister doing? The other day, I heard Mugabe Mase, my friend, talking about John Rapport on his thing. He's a proper NDC guy. So what is Rapport doing over there? He's wasting our time. Every day he's complaining and he doesn't put the lights on. There are NDC people who are genuinely upset with these pillow games that we are playing with a country that is nearly 70 years old. 70-year-old country, we play these pillow games as if we are children. The containers are missing. I set up forensic audit. From Gapoha, because you have power and you have police and you have BNI and you have national security, you think that you are protected. Tomorrow is pregnant. I'm really sorry for Janapo. I feel very, very sorry for him. Anyway.
How to use the laser home kit. First, apply the gel directly to the tooth surface as demonstrated on the video. Second, connect the light to your phone using the USB provided. Leave the light shining on your teeth for 16 minutes. Fourth, rinse your mouth and the mouthpiece with water, cold water. And lastly, smile. Using the toothpaste separately. Brush twice daily with the toothpaste. Bear in mind, this product is not suitable for pregnant women, breastfeeding mothers, and children under 18 years old. Enjoy!
I busuafo. So pair a sifita structure of what ye, and the enough and unique laser whiten. Any tea stains, coffee stains, smoking stains beer, unique laser whitening product. Ebe yin in free summer, come. The Oyan is so befraying. I was 079 99792330. Unique laser whitening, or say Muni Seso.
Abone Fonti. I was so no bumble here. Name Papa Mudie. Pro Technologies. And I come from my Anne. Pro Technologies. We are specialized in both sales and installation of CCTV cameras. Yes, on ESA install CCTV cameras in the Sour Ghana. And NASA brochure now for Ghana. Now best CCTV camera installation. We need Pro Technologies. And in South. We have CCTV camera installation, electric fence, automated gate, access control, video doorbell, and our intercom, and our satellite TV, home theater, so we pay biato, and our water, and our PCB install them out. Pro Technologies. And our software. National so. Say video nyina from America bochime in this and papa na padia man nwene ho na ne bo anso da form ne general construction so pese si ufie di ma say ya bansoro dentia so wa hyase na pese ewie di ba ana afa na pese si di ma wo no woni en eninsa wo so ne de wo ni say ye no nyina ne wa bochime mu ha ene branch e wa Ghana na enim obra wo bre nti so sika fa ensemu a sro bia nim wo dad da e dan bi apese osi plan bia eno echi so here solar power ana bamba ho sensem bia de uni pro technologies emisa woso ye smart home abafo fidie bi apeso hye wo fie ana intercom edi hujuma ene esanso interior decoration yesi fie na mawo ana wa wasi fie na pese siesi hodema wo se eye office ye betwa ho neat ne wo car tracker ana GPS how betimi dia track your car bibia car ne nam bia obetima hwe e wo phone so eno echi so to fidie bi na wo ko e so install ana ne settings ye beye e dia ma ye Ghana office e wo Ashie Adenta Dodo Road ye ne CBG ene di animhwe for information or WhatsApp +1 401 75 70 300 and +1 401 69 92 254. Pro Technologies. Customer satisfaction is our topmost priority.